Cape Francisco owns property within 500 feet of both Durand Street and Lorraine Street. So theoretically, they would need to recuse themselves. However, we'd like to be able to present a 5-person board to vote, because you need 3 positive votes out of 5 out of a full board to pass something. We have a couple of ways we deal with this. You are under no pressure to do any of them. The first way is that you listen to the member who should affirm that they can be impartial even though they own property within 500 feet, and agree to have them waive that requirement, so that way you have 5 people voting. If you decide that you're concerned about that, and sometimes people argue, they think, oh, that's the neighbor that doesn't like me. That doesn't probably have to be the case here. But if you're concerned, you can either have 4 people vote, needing 3 votes, or you can say, I want to wait till there's a full board of 5 people that don't own property within 500 feet, and so I'm asking you to postpone until you can present me with that board. That is not a postponement on your behalf, and then you can postpone. So those are the 3. Those are the options. I guess I will ask first. Seat. Who's here for seat? You are. Okay. Kathleen Inslee owns property on Court Street. Do you want to say whether you'd be impartial or not?
I don't have any kind of bias issue myself.
Right. So the question is, do you want to allow her? Do you want to allow the waiving of that rule so you have 5 people voting?
Does she want to waive her vote?
No, it's up to you. She can waive the rule if she wants to. If she felt, as an example, that she couldn't be impartial, she would say, I can't be impartial. I have a strong feeling about this. She has not said that.
So it's okay that she votes.
So you want to waive the rule, okay? And the Kim Karofsky, hi, and you are, Cape Francisco owns property on Lorraine, and within 500 feet, do you want to say whether you be?
I'm impartial to both the Lorraine and the Durand properties.
Who's Durand? You're Durand, and who's Lorraine? You're Lorraine. Okay, she said, do you want to waive the rule so that you have 5 people voting?
Yes.
Okay, and do you? All right. So the record will show that the applicants all agreed to waive that 500-foot proximity rule so that we had 5 voting members. Okay. The first one will be Appeal 2131, Seton Schools. Come on up here, have a seat. And the address is 23 St. Charles Street. This is to install a new digital sign, which you're allowed to have by the ordinance. But this is for you to provide to get a new sign on the building. You applied, it is a digital sign which has other rules besides regular signs. As a matter of fact, 2 of us, Scott Domain and I, were part of the community that wrote the sign ordinance, and then they changed it. It used to say that there was not a programmable or digital sign in any residential neighborhood. It got changed. You're in an R2 district, so you're allowed to have up to a 24 square foot sign, digital sign. Your sign is not, it's 18.94 square feet, but you exceed signage and number of signs allowed.
Okay.
Because you have the Seton sign on the building. Is that where this sign is going?
Underneath the wooden sign, yes.
All right.
Initially, at first we thought maybe we would have it like across from the parking lot, but that's really in the residential area, and
Yes.
we thought it would be better and less obtrusive if it were right on the building itself.
I'm sorry, by the way, before I go further, could you state your name for Denise?
Susan Pellerin.
Thank you.
I can't get it on the screen because it was set up for something else, so IT's trying to see if they can fix it. We're gonna have to look at it old school.
Right. There is some concern about how you use the sign. You know, when I first saw the application, I thought, oh man, they're gonna put it on St. Charles facing those houses, you know, or down at the end where the other signs are
Right.
on the fence, which seem to have gotten minimized a little bit now. I know you only have, today you only had downtown Rising there. Do you think you're gonna get rid of those signs on the fence?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, there are event signs that may be up for very brief period. Is that correct, Joe?
What's that?
But
The signs that are on the fence when you get on the corner of the soccer field, are they legal?
They're tolerated.
Yeah.
usually the only ones.
No, I know,
I think the only ones that Seton actually puts up are things like for the Christmas dinner or.
yeah, I know, yeah.
And the
Right.
festival in the
Other
spring.
people just seem to put them up there.
Right, I don't think that they're
Yeah,
having
we
anything
may-
to do with Seton.
Having nothing to do with Seton,
I
they
don't
want
believe
to
so.
try and control that.
I
Right,
don't think so, right.
right.
There's a couple locations in the city where
Right, the
they
one,
don't mind those signs as long as they get taken down.
Elizabeth Street,
As soon
right?
as they're.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
What's the goal of your
Um,
sign?
We want to have a sign on the building to say things like applications accepted, open house, the dates of open house, you know, if the school's closed because of weather, just basically updates on things that are happening at the school, you know, Christmas concert,
Right.
Christmas dinner, that sort of thing.
We looked pretty carefully, by the way, at the ordinance downstairs in our pre-meeting. I had a concern about what we call billboards, which signs become billboards when they advertise anything off premises. I know that,
Right.
but somebody's gonna come to you and say, hey, I'll donate $500 to Seton if you would put my company logo up there once a week. I'm just telling you, it's not an allowed use of that sign.
Right, okay.
That was one question. The second one was, it's a lit sign. When would it be operational? From when to when?
We can choose when it turns off at night or it dims
Right.
at night, you know,
I
at
guess
7
that's-
o'clock at night or 8 o'clock at night. I don't believe it turns completely off, but you probably can program it that way also.
Well,
So-
if you programmed it with a black screen, it'd be
Right.
effectively up. Do you know when you would think about doing that? Well, how late at night?
How late at night? Do you have a recommendation? I mean,
Well,
the traffic on that, probably, I would say like 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Nothing later than that, I wouldn't think.
Right, right. I mean,
I mean,
that's
it's
fine with
basically
me.
during daytime hours. You know, people are traveling down that road just to
Sure,
see what's
sure.
going on.
But you're not so
that's the
worried about it
idea.
at 9 o'clock, after 9 o'clock?
No,
at night?
no.
I'm gonna open it to the board for questions before the public hearing. Any questions? Questions?
Yes.
Is there anybody in the audience that has a comment regarding the Seton Schools signage? No? Then I'm gonna close the public hearing portion of this. If there are no more questions, we can go to the short form, to the seeker. We have a short form seeker that was filled out as part of the application.
Okay.
And you did put in properly variance and building permit is actually a sign permit. The variances, Joe, am I correct, would be actually 2 of them, correct?
Yes.
Right,
Seating
one
is-
for square footage, you'll tell us afterwards how much that is, and it's
Right.
for 2 signs, correct?
Yes.
Have
You said for
people
2
looked at
signs?
the short form
Two
secret?
signs, because there's that one already there. So they're doing a second sign wall.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Does anybody have any questions about the short form secret? No? If not, I will take a motion regarding the short form secret.
I'll move that, that based on the answers to part 1 of the short environmental assessment form, that in items 1 through 11 in part 2, we check no or small impact, and the chair be authorized to sign, and check the box at the bottom of page 4 indicating that there will not be any significant adverse environmental impact by the proposed action.
Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Second,
Katie?
yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay. And now secondly, I am looking then for a motion regarding, Joe, can you tell us what the square footage is?
The square footage of the new sign is about 19 square feet. You're allowed 24.
What's the other sign, do you know?
The other sign is about 24 square feet, so they're.
So it's,
19 square
it's
feet
for
over.
this square footage and sign. So the motion would indicate a variance for 2 signs instead of 1, and for round numbers,
21 square feet over.
20. The other one was 24, right, Joe?
Yes,
No, 20 square, 19 feet.
What's allowed?
24.
24, they already have a 24 square foot
I thought you
sign.
said the new one's 20,
The new one's 19.
19, okay.
Right,
sorry.
so for a 19 square foot sign and 1 additional sign, where only 1 is allowed. That's what I'm looking for a motion.
I'll move that on appeal number 2131. The applicant, the Seton Schools, 23 St. Charles Street, location of the applicant. That variance requested be allowed for an additional sign, an additional 1 sign as there's already 1 in place, and an additional 19 square feet of signage over what's permitted.
Seconded by,
Do you want any others in operation?
oh, yeah, thank you.
With hours of operation, the sign limited to, what's the beginning?
What do you want for the beginning time, 7 o'clock,
7 a.m.
6 o'clock?
I would say 6 o'clock.
Yeah, because if you're gonna do school
6
closing
o'clock,
stuff,
yeah.
6
So
a.m.
hours of operation only between 6 a.m. and 9 p.m.?
Yeah, that's amendment to include
You got it.
that. Okay, so a yes vote is to approve.
Second?
No, okay, yeah, and yes vote is to approve that.
Should we change that to 10 PM?
Sure,
Just because during the summer when it's light till 9,
Yeah,
and if they've got games
absolutely.
going on in back,
not a problem at
I
all.
mean,
That's better.
that's what I.
Yeah, that's fine.
Not so much during the
It's,
winter.
it's
but
more
during the
later,
Summer.
it's more how it affects people's,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
whatever.
And at
Kelly,
least-
you want to second that?
Oh, don't even need yours. I'd love to. Okay, you have a yes vote, 5 yes votes, you're approved. Thank you very much for participating in the project. Enjoy your family
Thank
dinner,
you.
whatever it is.
Okay, thank you very much.
Have a good night. That's good. Is this like?
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay, that's good. You can have this.
See, it's beautiful.
Okay, Christoph, Hertel, feeling better? Oh, yeah. I thought it was funny when I saw you at Price Chopper.
I think it was fun because I don't remember what I said.
Yeah.
I was
Okay, good evening. You have been here before,
before.
and now you're back, and you provided a new plan. And I have your previous application. Does everybody have the previous one? Does anybody have the previous one?
Yes. Yeah, some people come.
I do. I have it. Thank you. And we have a new, Joe, I need to understand the manner of deviation, I guess, for the various plans. But we have a new plan you submitted. You've scaled it back. So that I understand, you have, this is the existing image, and you have 2 options.
Correct.
One is this one, which,
Original one?
that's the original
That's
one,
preferred one, yes.
right, when it came out to the, in front of the entry. And this is the scaled back one.
That's correct.
I'm gonna go ahead and just open this to, was everybody here?
I was here
Right here.
the
For
first
the last one,
time.
Well, the last one got postponed.
for June.
But the first one you were here for? Did you hear this ever?
I did.
Okay, Scott, you did.
Yeah, I've been.
You did.
You did, everybody
Yeah.
was here.
Okay, all right. So I'm just gonna open this to the board for questions. Scott, Kate, anybody wants to go? So we're all familiar with it, that was no question.
So it's just unclear. represents what he currently has.
Yes.
Dim that a
This
little bit.
represents what he wanted.
This would still come from the house out over the garage. How is it?
Yes.
There's no,
Give or take a foot or two. Yeah, I think that's
Okay.
exactly what.
It's not that.
let me go to this. We had talked about different shapes for that roof at one point on the neighbor's side. This one, this is the original one, right? This is with the entrance even with the front, right?
No, it's about 11 feet.
This one came out even further, correct?
It's about 10.4 feet in.
It was even with.
No,
the
no,
front
I
of
know,
the
but I'm saying,
neighbors.
this is with the front of the addition even with the entrance.
The old one.
The first one,
Yes.
that picture is this plan.
That's correct.
That's the original one that it came out. And it has a little roof on it. If not, if you went to this other plan, it would be that there's just the entrance and this garage door is back in underneath.
right.
This is not the existing garage door, it's the new garage door.
That's correct.
And on the, otherwise, no matter what, are you changing the garage door? If you went to this plan, are you leaving the garage as it is and building over the garage?
No, it would be bigger than the garage.
The garage would be bigger back, right?
No, forward,
Forward.
Huh?
towards the street. The back,
one
the
still
back's
is
from,
towards the
the
street.
back is
Yeah.
remaining the
Yes,
same.
not as
The
much.
back is remaining, so that's what I want, okay.
And he's coming forward 9 feet.
Okay. Now, I just wanted to clarify, I'm opening this to board questions. And Joe, you're gonna tell us what the square footages are?
Yeah, as soon as I
Yeah, okay,
decipher it.
but we can have questions while we're waiting.
So he's coming forward 7 feet on the alternate plan.
The garage is even, now he's joining from the garage, and the original garage is 22.3, is that?
Yeah, 22 and change.
And now he's coming up 7 feet, yeah. 7 feet 2 and something. On the small one, on the 29, and he's coming up,
'Cause that's the front number,
uh,
29.5.
That's 14 and 8.
I'm not
That's
sure
the
why
width.
it's. I'm not sure why the outside dimension is different than the garage dimension, but anyway.
Right, let's see that.
Well,
They're different.
Do these dimensions include the eaves? Is it the eaves?
The
The
soffit,
overhang, the
overhang?
soffits? Because the numbers aren't matching up with what you're giving for sizes.
Which numbers?
Well,
So I guess the,
All
yeah,
of them or just one particular one?
no, well, here's the question. You have a garage now that is 22 foot 3 inches deep, long, front and back.
That's correct.
If you look at the dimension where it says garage, it says 29.1, but if you look over to the side, it says 29.5 and 13/16. Over to the side of the garage, on the one drawing, and on the other, it says 33 where it says 31. So the question is, what is the footprint? Is the garage gonna be 29.1 or 29.5? Is the garage gonna, in the one drawing, is the garage gonna be 31.6, or I'm sorry, 31, whatever that is, as opposed to 33 something?
Yeah, that is different.
right?
Yeah, correct. Do you know where, can you see where he's, this number you have on the side here
Yes?
doesn't match what is inside what you have, and we're just wondering which one you're going with.
I think
And the
these
same
are-
thing with the width of the garage.
I think these are including the soffits or fascias or,
Well, but that's gonna make a difference.
well, I guess what I would say is if we're gonna look at improving anything, we would use not those dimensions on the size, but the actual size footprint, like where it says 31 or 29 or something for the garage, correct? What it says the size of the garage is, inside that garage,
Yeah,
okay?
Depends on not making the existing garage bigger. It's gonna be within the existing garage. footprint.
Right, but that's not the question. The point is that you have two dimensions. One says a bigger thing than the other. The garage, I wonder if that's the inside dimension. Right?
I don't know, did you measure the interior of the garage for the number in the
I
hash?
think I know what you're talking about, and it's probably just a software calculation when I move
Right.
that.
But
thing
are you
over.
asking for a garage 21.7 by 29.1? Or
21.7 by 31.
that was the original one,
Yes.
31.8. Or the smaller one is by 29.1. Right? The original one was 31.8. You have a revised plan showing 29.1. Is that correct, Scott? Are we looking at that the same way?
Yeah, but
yeah,
the
mine,
garage.
I can't read that it's 29.1.
But if you look at this image, and I made a mistake, you see that this garage is not fully with the line of the outside.
So what is the size of the garage that you're
It's
asking
going
for?
to be 4 feet lower than the original one with preferred plan.
Do we have the original plan from the first time?
So you're saying 4 feet difference from here to here?
No, 4 feet difference between here and here.
Yep.
So original plan is, this is 10 feet right here. This is existing garage. This is 10 feet to the street,
Okay.
8 feet to the house. That plan is 6 feet from the original garage, which would probably be right here. And
The
6 feet-
house is 44 feet front to back.
Sorry?
The house,
Yes.
44 feet front to back. The garage now is 13.6 by 22.3, and it's even with the back of the house.
That's right.
Okay? So that means that what from the garage to the front of the house is 21.9. Right? 21.9. Okay? From the front of the existing garage to the front of the house is 21.9. If you're asking, there's two different plans here. If we look at the one where the entry is in the front, separate from the others, he's showing 10.4 and 4, he's showing 14.4, give or take, which means that he's asking to extend from the front of the garage 7 foot 5 inches. Okay? Let's just look at it that way. Right? 21 foot 9 inches minus 14.4. I'm not gonna even look at these, the ones on the side, I'm just gonna say it. Does that make sense, Scott, to you? Okay, so that is 7 foot 5 inches to the back part, not the entry part, right?
Right.
You see the 10.4 and the 4 foot?
Yep.
On the other one, he is showing 10'6", which means that he is going to take 21 foot 9 inches minus 10 foot 6 inches would be 11 foot 3 inches. So that's what we really care about, correct? From the front of the house back. We know that it's even with the house. That would leave us, he's right, it is about 29 something because it's 44 minus the 14.4. It's close to 30 feet on the side, right, give or take. On the
I can
29.
measure it on satellite if you want.
Well, yeah, I see it, but it doesn't give us the min, and then the other one, which is 11.3, would be actually 30, I'm gonna call it 32 foot 9 inches, okay? So we're looking at, although that doesn't, something doesn't, 14. I'm sorry. 29 foot 8 inches. That's the one with the entry, the side of the garage. Right, we have 44 feet less 14.4 is 29.8. We have 44 feet less 11.3 is 32.9. So the length of these garages that he's proposing are, the one with the entry enclosed inside is 32 foot 9. The other one is 29 foot 8. And that makes sense because we're going from 7.5 to 11.3, give or take. Okay? So that's what we're looking at. The original one is the one where you said that you wanted the 10 foot 6, correct? That's this one. So the original one that we asked him to come back for shows 10 foot 6. The other one is showing 4 feet further back for most of it. So just to clarify. Now, questions, concerns, ideas? Do you like either one? Do you, anybody have any comments?
We've got a couple of variances involved, correct? We've got setback and total area.
Right.
The minute they connect it, then you got setback, and we're increasing that.
Say that again.
We're increasing that variance with this. The minute he connects them, you have a setback issue.
Right, we had that, that's the same variance, though, right?
Yeah. But then,
It's similar, it's not the same. Right now, it's an accessory structure,
yeah,
so.
Right,
it's
no,
still
I
close to the
understand
property
that.
line. If you connect it, it's gotta meet the setbacks of the house, so it'll still be a setback issue, just, and no
This-
closer, but different.
no, but we're extending the length of that.
Yes.
Is it,
Setback.
it's
Right.
not a front yard setback issue though, correct,
No.
Joe?
Side
No,
yard.
it's not.
Side yard.
It's only the side, it's the side yard setback.
Yes,
Both of these meet front yard setback?
yes.
So it's the side yard. The issue is that he's not gonna provide 10 and 15 or whatever when he connects to this garage.
This was the one where the neighbor wrote specifically and
Mhm.
said that she
Neighbor
was
was
good with
supporting
it.
it, yeah.
Okay.
So he would aggravate that side yard setback either by 29 foot 8 inches of building by, how far is it away from, do we know how far it is away from the property line? Joe?
3 feet maybe?
It's about
5 feet?
three.
3 feet. Okay, so, and he needs, well, that's a side yard, but he doesn't have another side yard, does he, Joe?
He doesn't, he's on a corner, so he has 2 fronts, 1 side, 1 rear.
All right, So he doesn't have another side yard to be combined with that 10 feet, right?
That's right.
But so it's 10 feet
It's
anyway.
10 feet, yes, minimum.
Okay? So we are talking about creating a side yard setback that is, instead, in lieu of 10, 3, by either 29.8 or 33, whatever it is. 32.9. So that's the first part, and what was the coverage, Joe?
It's
covered-
on the front page.
Yeah, do you have that, Ron?
I don't have that.
The preferred plan is 33.27%.
What, and he's allowed 25, or,
25, but he actually already exceeds that
right.
by almost 3%. It's on the screen, by the way.
And his property line is right at the sidewalk.
That's typical.
Okay.
Well, and we have nothing from the neighbors whatsoever, correct?
Not this time around, no.
And the last time we didn't.
The very first one, we had the approval letter. The last time we got nothing.
Right, but they said they didn't mind it the first time, neighbors.
Great. The
Yeah.
very first one.
Yeah, even the first. So I guess,
Of course, their place sticks out even farther, so how can they complain?
say that again?
Their place sticks out farther.
Yeah,
so-
yeah. So I guess, here's the issue. I'll open this, first of all, let me do this. Does anybody in the public
Yes, yeah.
have any comments regarding 265 Cornelia Street? Last chance. Okay. Close the public hearing portion. So I guess the question comes down to, it seems, and I'll just say it this way, it seems to me that we thought it was, we asked him to come back because we felt it was a little bigger than we liked last time. I think he made a pretty good effort to reduce it. So we never did the seeker, which would still apply. And I guess the question is, if I'll do the seeker if I think that I'm gonna get somebody that's gonna make a motion. Well, I'll do the seeker anyway. Let's do the seeker. All right, so we have a short form seeker. And it is filled out as,
Excuse me. The seeker's already been approved. That was the first meeting, so.
oh, we did a seeker already?
Yes.
All right,
Yes, we're good.
good, yeah. All right, so then, the question is, does anybody want to make a motion regarding this?
That petition.
I'll make a motion in regards to Appeal 2112 for Christoph Hertel, 265 Cornelia Street. The alternative plan that he has provided to us, the smaller of the two, which will end up being a variance against square footage, coverage, total coverage being 32.58%, and the fact that he is attaching it to the house, violating the 10-foot side yard setback over a length of
29.8 feet. I mean, 29 feet, 8 inches. If you want to say 30 feet.
29.8.
You want to say 30?
No, 29'8".
Okay.
Okay. And a yes vote is to approve the alternative plan.
Do I have a second?
One second.
Kelly. A yes vote is to approve. Okay, we got 5 yes votes to approve the alternative plan. I think that, as you know, we thought the other one was a little excessive. I know you would have liked it, but I think this will still serve your needs quite well. And you're all set. You've got to get your plans finished, go get your building permit, off you go. Thank you very much. Thanks for participating in the process.
Thank you.
You can have that one. You can have this.
Isn't this nice?
It's so, I love this. Oh, you can have this. Okay. This. Yeah, this is yours.
Here was your sheet.
Okay, you can have that. All right. So for that, Kim Karofsky. Come on up. Have a seat. And yours is for 16 Durand for a carport.
Yes.
16 by 12. And your name is?
Mike Lawler.
And you want to build a carport. The question is, I mean, I understand how they work carports, but it's so close to the property line. I don't know how else you would, they don't work smaller. What do you need the carport for? Is the snow come off the roof? Is there?
Well, there's that issue, plus she has arthritis, so in the winter months, it's difficult for her to clean her car off. I usually wind up coming in and doing it.
I'm going to open this to the board for questions, concerns.
I have a question. The current garage right now, it looks like a one-car garage. Is it being used for a car or is it storage?
That would be a fantasy that I could get a car in there.
Okay.
It's pretty small garage.
Okay. Do you have a picture with the full dimensions of the garage?
Is it not
Oh,
deep
you the one up on the
enough?
screen.
Is it not deep enough for a car?
It's deep enough. I don't know. We were measuring vehicles this weekend to figure out if I was able to empty it, if I could even get a vehicle in it. And
Oh,
I
that's-
probably could, but I don't know if I could get out of it.
That's what I heard.
Get out of the vehicle.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the
Yeah, because I look at the Jeep in front of it, there's not
Well,
much
I think
room
they've
left.
gotten bigger because a Jeep used to go in that
The
garage.
do they, have the neighbors said anything?
The next door neighbor, it's a bank-owned property right now.
Right.
That'd be why the for sale sign's out there.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, did they before, has it been, oh, the bank owns it now? So that's been a while that they've had it.
Yes.
Did you, prior to deciding on the carport, did you look into plans for increasing the square footage of the garage at all?
There's not room.
There's no room.
The garage is, there's a pin in the neighbor's backyard that matches with the curb of the first part of my driveway, and that's where the property line is. And the garage is probably this far from.
How about the other direction? What's on the other side?
It's a small backyard, but I don't think.
But there's no structure on the right side of the garage. It's just yard, right?
Next to her garage.
Yeah, to the right of your garage. You can't expand to the right?
No.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like this.
If you look at it, yeah, you would have to just have a single car garage door to get into it. Because their porch can't be much more than 10 foot to the right of it, up to the steps, not even 10 foot.
Joe, when attached, just to be clear, it becomes part of the house, correct?
Yes.
Joe, do you have a picture of you? Basically.
You want it or you want me to put it up?
It doesn't matter either way. size of the garage is
Where?
enough.
Yeah.
If the garage was only the size
Yes.
of the door, I can understand, but it's bigger than that.
Okay, you're good. Where's that? That's for, this is, this is this is Blondie's and this is her. Wait, it's not Blondie's. What's that store called now? It's not Blondie's, right? It's something else, right?
It was Goldie's Market.
My daughter lived down the street, across the street from you, sort of. You know, there's all those apartments across the street, like, next to that, whatever that number was, they sold it, they moved. It used to be, the cops, LaForest, was that LaForest? Ansel LaForest?
I don't know.
Anyway, she lived there quite a while, for a while. How long have you been here?
In this house,
Yeah.
30 years.
Oh,
Do we have a coverage issue?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, first of all, it's a very small lot, 2,300 square feet, right? 2,380. 35 feet wide, 68 feet deep. They exceed coverage already. They're at 42%. They're allowed to cover 30%. Adding this carport would bring it to 50%.
What was the amount?
30.
Right now.
Right now, 42. Yep.
do we have any suggestions?
Mine was just to extend the garage.
What's that?
We were thinking just to extend the garage over on the right-hand side to allow for parking, change the door.
Yeah,
I don't know.
here's really the problem. The problem is that if you exceed coverage somewhat, I fully understand why you want it and need it, but we work on precedents, like if every time somebody comes and gets something from us, then everybody else can go, you gave her the thing a foot away. I mean, you know, I'm not trying to be, but, so that's really, and we just don't, in general, I mean, it's so close to the property line.
Almost every carport in the city
Uh-huh.
is close to a property line.
I couldn't hear you, I'm sorry.
Almost every carport in the city is close to a property line.
I know that, but they are, generally the lots are a little, some of them do, some don't, but the lots are a little bigger, and one of the problems we have is that you're exceeding coverage. Like, you're only allowed to have so much building covering a lot, and you already exceed that by quite a bit. This
I
is,
haven't added any structure.
oh, no, but that's grandfathered in, you're allowed it because it was grandfathered in, but we can't aggravate or whatever you wanna call it, that situation by adding more coverage. Maybe what you should, one alternative, what we might wanna think about, and I would do it on our behalf, is maybe you should think about, because you'd still have to come back for a variance for this, and it would be changing this application, is take a look at changing the garage so that you can park in the garage. It may not cost any much more than building the carport, and you can get your car covered, but B, no matter what you're gonna, if you build anything, you're gonna have to get a variance because you're exceeding coverage, which you already exceed, but to get, you know, it's gonna be making that worse. the problem with doing it with a carport is that it's right at the edge of the property, where you're asking to extend the whole thing right over to the edge of the property, where it doesn't exist like that now. We can, like, we could postpone this. You could come back with a different plan. I don't see, I'm being honest with you, I could be wrong. I don't tell the board what to do, and they wouldn't listen anyway. But it doesn't seem that people seem pretty concerned about this being so close to the property line and so much coverage. One alternative would be for us to postpone it tonight, and I would ask the board to do it on our behalf, saying that we don't have enough information yet, theoretically be on yours, and take a look at, relook at the garage, relook at this, and see if we can come up with a different plan first. I mean, I think that what's gonna happen is if we put this to a vote tonight, and it gets defeated, if you don't get 3 positive votes saying yes, you can have the carport, then this application is done. You can come back and reapply for something different. And we can do that, we can vote and do that, but I'm not sure that's the best path for you to take. I think that you should, you know, it's gonna cost X amount to build the carport, whatever that is. It might be, you might be better off expanding the garage so you can get inside the garage.
It's gonna cost
Huh?
at least twice as much to expand the garage, because we got to put footers down to put up another exterior wall, change the roof line.
Right.
It's quite a bit of work to extend.
Oh,
that
no,
garage.
I
Plus
know.
it takes out of her backyard, which is about the size of this desk now.
Yeah. And I understand your predicament, but one of the problems we have is,
The coverage.
it's just, the coverage, it's not, I don't care, honestly, it's quite as much about the coverage, because, it's building coverage, which is different than open space, and you're taking up paved area anyway. It's building this thing right over next to the property line. It's easy to say, well, the bank owns next door, but if there was, let's say there was a real neighbor next door, they might come in and say, geez, it's gonna be right on mine. And I know you can put a gutter up and take care of the water. I mean, we can continue, but I guess I'm gonna ask the board if they have any feelings about this, or?
Well, what is the problem with the garage? When you say you can't get a car in there, why not?
Well, you can get in, but the cars today are so much larger.
It's a really small garage.
She said she can get in it, but she can't really open the doors.
I mean, the thing is small.
I mean, isn't a standard garage about 12 feet wide, single?
Well,
I mean, a double garage, a standard double is 24 square
yeah.
outside.
If you think about it, if you think about a 9-foot wide parking space in a parking lot,
Yep.
9 by 18 space, a 12-foot garage is, the car can be up to 7.5 feet wide. It's tough to open the doors, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to, you know, we're not in the business of being mean or not mean or nice. And then on the other hand, people go, oh, geez, I really need this, and how come I can't have it if I really need it? I'm trying to advise you that I don't see people wanting to start a precedent where we allow, and there are carports, but in general, we haven't had them, we don't get them very often anymore, carports. And we deal with, it's almost always garages, but they're accessory structures. Now, if you see, one of the problems is you're connecting this to the house, right?
Yeah.
So, Joe,
Yes.
if she didn't connect it to the house, it'd be an accessory structure, correct? But is she allowed 2 accessory structures?
She is allowed 2 accessory structures.
So one alternative, and I think you've got to think about this, that's why I'm talking about postponement. One alternative might be to figure out a way to build a carport that's not connected to your house, that is considered an accessory structure. It doesn't have, it's supposed to be 5 feet from the property line.
It's supposed to be in the rear yard too.
And it's supposed to be in the rear, oh, it's in the rear yard also, right? So she can't really do that either, can she?
Not without a variance.
Right, on this, but it might be a little bit,
Then you're just changing what type of variance.
what's that?
Then you're just changing what type of variance, but you're
Right,
ending up with
but
the
if
same
it's
thing.
not connected, in other words, what happens when you connect this to the house is that the entire, now it goes to the 10-foot side yard setback as opposed, well, it's less, what is it, a
Actually-
38-foot lot, Joe?
Yeah, what is the setback?
35.
35, so what are they?
7 feet on that side is the requirement.
What about the option of, I'm totally just spitballing here. If you're not able to use that garage to park in, what about modifying the existing garage and opening it up and making it into a carport so that you have the ability to open your doors, but you're not actually changing your footprint?
I don't think
That
it's wise
seems-
to change a garage to a
No.
carport.
I'm just,
Yeah, I
I
know
mean,
what you're saying.
instead of adding more,
Temporary,
You
it's
take
temporary.
value out of the house, out of
It's
the home.
temporary.
The most people
Yeah.
buying, if she goes to sell someday.
yeah, no, I hear you. I'm just
That's
trying
what
to
I
think
think
of
it
all
was
the
a
different things.
discrimination.
Like he said, it's hard to set that precedent when you don't, yeah.
The 10, Joe.
Yeah, is that?
You mean the temporary tent garages?
Yeah.
Those are unregulated. So,
Anybody can put
yep.
Yeah, there's the other option. You can buy a,
That's gonna look worse.
no, they're ugly. I'm not trying to, you know, we're stuck too. Listen, doesn't mean that I don't want to give you this. That's not the issue here. It's not about, I don't know how to say it. It's not about being nice or not nice. It's about, every time we give something to somebody, we have to be careful because then 30 other
That's
people.
precedent.
Everybody's gonna come and say, well, you gave her a carport, she exceeded coverage by a lot, so you can't use that against me, and she's 1 foot from the property line, you gotta give me one, you gave it to her. So that is part of our problem. I'm not saying you don't need it, I'm not saying you do or don't deserve it, it has nothing to do with that. This is where we're here, we're in the variance business, we're supposed to give variances when we feel they're justified, or we're supposed to give the minimum one. Now, we could start going, but no matter what you do, the minute you connect it to the house, you theoretically need a variance if you're greater than 7 feet. If you're closer to the property line than 7 feet, which you're 1 foot, right? The minute you connect it. So that's what we're faced
Well,
with.
he needs that whether he connects it or not.
Huh?
Yeah.
He needs that whether he connects it or not. You
What's
can't
that?
put an accessory
Oh,
structure.
sure, 5 feet.
But he's putting a foot.
Right, but right, yeah. So if you went to an accessory structure, then you still can only put it 5
And
feet.
it has to be
Now your
regular.
garage, wherever it is, 1 foot away or whatever, it's grandfathered in, doesn't matter. What I'm just gonna suggest you, and I know you probably wanna get this dealt with, and it's gonna be fall. I really think you should take a look at the garage. You're gonna have to come back to us no matter what, okay? My suggestion would be, and tell me if anybody thinks I'm wrong about this, would be to postpone it for a month so that they can re-examine this, come back to us with an alternative plan. Look at the garage, because you're still gonna have to, the minute you expand anything there, you have a coverage issue. You have to come back to us for a variance for coverage. Okay, no matter what. So if you, let's say you said, hey, you know what, I can move that door over a little bit, and I'm just gonna take that wall out and extend the shed, that side of the slope of the garage over, and you can examine the cost, and then you can come back to us and say, look, to fix the garage, it would cost me X amount, to build this and I'm not trying to just postpone you, but I'm trying to give you what I think is the best advice to deal with zoning. Does that make sense, or? I know it's not what you want to hear, but I mean, would you like us to
Well, I guess
postpone?
if you postpone it, the process can go on.
Oh, yeah.
Without having to come back and resubmit a new one.
That's right. We're gonna do it under this one, whether it's a carport or whatever, right, Joe?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the carport that we submitted isn't gonna pass no matter what. Is that what
I,
you're saying?
it's my personal feeling, I can't, well, I'll put it to you, I can't speak for them. I can't vote for it in good conscience, not because I don't think you should or shouldn't have it, but I have lots of reasons why I don't think it's a good idea for me to vote for it. Nothing personally, but just zoning wise, okay? However, I'd like you to look at the garage, I'd like you to look at, just think about that and examine some of those costs, get an idea of the cost and what's involved, then come back to us more informed. You're no further, I mean, if in general it seems like people are not gonna be in favor of this, you're no further behind to wait 1 month, relook at that idea, and come back to us with, you know, Mr. Hertel that was here before came back 2 or 3 times by the time he got done with his thing, okay? Sometimes we just do them, boom, but, and I just think it's the best idea, I'm not trying to, do you think, would you like us to postpone for 1 month on our behalf?
I don't know how we can change it. I mean,
Yeah, I think,
rebuilding that garage isn't gonna it just doesn't make sense to me.
Okay. Well, I mean, we can vote on it, and then if we deny it, then you can't come back for this same thing for a
it
year.
looks like it's gonna get turned down. I think we're going for postponement. We'll see. Because it's not gonna pass, so.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to, you know, again, I'm trying to give you, we're as sympathetic to everybody. Everybody that comes here has a reason they want their variance, not just, you know, sometimes people come because they want to make extra money and get another apartment there. We're not that nice about things, certainly, and we feel for people in homeowners, and we all, and, you know, I have a little lot and a little house, so I'm trying to give you the best advice, I'm not trying to be. You want us to postpone on your behalf,
Yeah.
on our behalf? I'm gonna look for a motion to postpone because we need more information on our behalf.
I'll make a motion to postpone, appeal 2130 Kim Karofsky, 16 Green,
Up to 2 months.
up to 2 months,
Is that okay?
Yeah.
for a
Just in
Class
case
B
you don't get it
variance.
together for next month.
For the Class B variance of installing a carport too close to the property or potentially looking at a garage
Seconded?
extension.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, so, Scott did, Kelly did.
Everybody did.
I'm sorry to
Everybody.
make you go through all this route, but come back, talk to Joe a little bit, he might be creative with you. Okay? All right, thank you. Gary and Sonia Lambert. You should have sent your mother. She was so effective.
Probably watching right now.
No, she was good though. She represented, she did a good job.
Thank you.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Okay. You were here, was that last month, right?
My mother was here last month, yes.
Yes.
Yes, we had missed the
Or your
cutoff.
representative was.
Yes, yes.
And this is a separate application because you want to put a fence in about 12 feet. You're allowed the fence there, but you want a 6-foot fence.
Right.
Look at the pool box.
It's nice.
It's really pretty.
Thank you. We've had a lot of people stop by and comment.
Okay. In the that patio.
Where's
in
the
front-
fence? Isn't there supposed to be a fence there?
Well, there actually is.
Okay.
When the photo was taken, the barrier
rolled it
fence
back.
was rolled back
Oh,
so the
okay.
contractor could get in.
All right.
But currently, we just have a contractor fence there
Yeah.
awaiting the
Approval.
outcome of this, yeah.
Okay.
I can attest.
I thought, and maybe I remember wrong, or perhaps your mother misled us, no. No, but we, for some reason, we thought it was gonna be even with the front of the house. I'm not sure where I got that, but it doesn't matter. What you're asking for is 12 feet from the sidewalk to the front of the fence. You're allowed a fence there. It's just you're only allowed a 4-foot fence and you want a 6-foot fence, and we understand why. And it would be the same style as the other 6-foot fence?
Yes, with the only thing that's not shown, of course, that's just my drawing, is there would be a gate in the middle and a pergola in the middle also, and,
Right.
yeah.
Does that qualify, is that a problem, Joe?
What's that?
The height of the pergola?
Well, if it's part of the fence, then it's part of the fence.
Right, so how tall would the pergola be?
I believe it was 8 feet, just
Must
one
be
where the
Right, I
gate is.
understand,
Yeah.
And is this gonna actually line up now with the tall fence, or is it out?
It lines up, if you go back to the picture.
Because on this picture, it looks
That's-
like
that's
it's
the
in
one.
front of the tall fence, or are you gonna change that to be tall?
The part that's behind my drawing would match the same height.
Right, so
Yeah.
you're gonna take that out and.
Both of those two smaller sections would come out, so the only fence that would remain on the long side of the
Oh,
property.
you wouldn't have fence coming out past?
That's
it?
correct, that's correct.
I got it.
Unless that's necessary.
Right, gotcha, yeah.
But both, and I understand the reason for the height requirement, as I understood it, it was to prevent obstruction of the visibility for the driveways. If you look at the photos of the side view of the house, both our neighbor's house and our house have porches in front of the house, and this fence would be, I believe it'd be 3 feet back from the front of those porches, so there's not an obstruction issue.
The important dimension, though, for us is that you would be 12 feet back from the sidewalk, which, Joe, we're considering the property line?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'll open to the board.
We really haven't established that the fence is going to be even with the front of the house.
It is, because of where the contractor put the pool, it's actually about 1.5 feet forward of the front corner of the house. There's a small jog, literally this much of a jog forward of the house and then over. Just because of where they dug it and where they put it in. I mean, we had planned on having it be directly
Yeah.
even with the house.
And I thought that's what we approved also.
Yeah. Well,
We approved, what did we?
The pool.
Oh, where?
It
Well,
was-
it's
it
the
was
pool,
all gonna be
excuse me, the pool itself is behind the front of the house. The pavers that surround the pool, however,
Went further?
were slightly forward of the house.
They're already in front of the house?
yeah.
Correct.
Or
that-
you're
that
just
one picture.
enclosing that?
Correct.
Did you say you're taking down the shorter part of the fence in the
If,
front?
I mean, our intent was to, because it didn't really make a lot of sense to have a side fence and
Yeah.
then a front fence, but if it's required to be there, I mean, there's no problem leaving it.
Right. And you're changing it from the last high section over to this one.
Correct. Just so it doesn't step down from 6 to 4 and then back up.
Yeah. Any other questions? I'm going to open this to the public. Any questions? Are you sure? Okay. Closing the public hearing portion. Don't ask any questions. Any other questions? All right. If not, let's do the seeker. We have a short form seeker. Oh, you filled out number 2 wrong. Bad. Number 2 is a yes. You need a variance. And permit. That's number 2. And number 3 is less than an acre. Any other comments on the short form seeker by anyone? If not, I'm looking for a motion. If so, speak then now.
I'll make a motion in regards to the shore environmental assessment form for Gary and Sonia Lambert, Appeal 2132, that after review of Part 1, that questions 1 through 11 in Part 2 be checked, no or small impact may occur. And as a result of that, allow the chair to check the box in part 3 that this will not result in any significant adverse environmental impact.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Does,
Okay.
14 need to be?
If there's no other questions, I'm looking for a motion. This is appeal number 2132. A yes vote would be to approve the variance.
I'll make a motion,
Good.
for appeal 2132, Gary and Sonia Lambert at 38 Main Street, Class B variance to install a 6-foot fence in front of in the front yard setback not to exceed 12 feet from the sidewalk, correct? That's it.
No, actually, it would be a minimum
A minimum
of 12 feet from the sidewalk.
12 feet from the sidewalk.
Minimum 12 feet?
From
From
the
the
sidewalk,
sidewalk?
6 feet high, right? He's allowed the
Right.
fence, so it's
Right.
6 feet
6
high.
feet high. Minimum 12 feet from the side? Well,
Sidewalk.
Correct.
okay.
Yeah. Seconded by Kathleen. A yes vote would be to approve this.
I put if invited to come swim.
I'm sorry?
I said yes if invited to come swim.
Yeah.
It came out really pretty.
Thank you.
It's very nice.
The boys were in it before the heat was even.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've been in it
I don't
almost
blame
every day.
Okay, you got 5 yes votes, you're all set.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for participating in the process.
Next time I'll send my mother though.
Yeah,
She's
next time,
aware.
send your mother, though, you would have been out of here a lot quicker.
Thank you.
No, it was good, she was good though.
She was.
All right,
Isn't she on?
let's keep rocking and rolling, I gotta go home and watch Wentworth.
I gotta watch Game of Thrones.
Oh, is that your new thing?
Do you know what that is?
I've heard of it.
Did you watch Orange is the New Black?
I've seen.
Do you like them or not? Okay, well, Wentworth is like that, but better. You know what they are?
Yes, I watched.
Do you watch both? Do you watch Wentworth?
Wentworth? No, it was just a new black.
You watch that? Yeah, go to Wentworth and see one. Hi there.
Hi,
How we doing? And your names are?
Melissa Pachowski.
Right.
Joanne Bacaro.
And you, I know you. Do you know that? Why do I know you? Because I worked for Conroy and Conroy and I helped.
Exactly.
Right. But that will not influence my decision in any way. That was a long time ago. We were different people then. No, but anyway, I was involved with the school
renovations.
and all that stuff, building it, all that. So. Okay, North Country Kids, we have 2 different things here. One is a special use permit, which, as we know, is a matter of right. That means that we have to give it to you. What we don't have to give you, though, of course, is these variances about parking or play areas, but we'll talk about that. The one doesn't do you any good without the other, right?
Well, actually, we are not in need of the.
Huh?
We're not in need of the parking. The children that are going to be going to this building are children that are going to be bused.
Yeah.
Can you speak up a little?
We're not going to be needing substantial parking because the children that are going to be going to this school, to be in her building, are bused through their different school districts.
Right.
It's 8 children with special needs.
But yeah, but that doesn't, in a sense, first of all, we don't even understand the parking, but that doesn't matter because it's still required. In other words, if you said I have a store, but everybody comes by bus before they go visit Dannemora, it wouldn't matter. No,
Right.
it's required. In other words, if you create that kind of space, you're supposed to have parking. What we don't understand, and frankly, I don't even know how we deal with the parking, is we don't understand the parking in that whole area over there. Well, yeah, I know, but there's all those buildings and uses, and we don't know how many spaces are there. We know that there's a lot of room there to park stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that you have the ability to, I don't even know how big is the space? How big is this space?
The kid station building itself is 6832 is what I was given, and they're taking about
The part that you're gonna do for this classroom,
800 square feet.
800 square feet.
Of that
Joe, how
600.
many parking spaces?
That requires
Is it 1 per 100?
4 spaces, okay. So,
I thought it was one
I
per
thought it was 1 per
Did
100.
you say 1 per
It
100?
might be, I'm checking right now.
what is
That's
it?
what you said downstairs.
Downstairs you said 1 for every 100.
That's what I thought, yeah. Now what's it say? Changes to it? How are we supposed to even function? See what I mean? No, okay,
One space
so
per 100.
you need 4 spaces
8.
somewhere on that
Eight.
entire,
1 space per 100.
8 spaces.
It is
8
8.
spaces.
Yeah.
You need 8 spaces on that entire lot. Are there 8 spaces that you can use on that entire lot? But we don't have a parking plan. I'm just gonna,
This is.
I don't know.
This is, I'm trying
Yeah.
to color code it for you.
We
All
did
these
submit
spaces
that.
here
I
are,
didn't
Did
know.
you, we don't have a parking plan.
I think I gave it to you in that packet.
I can
This
share,
one here you just gave me?
I can share more of these.
Oh, where?
Oh.
Here we go. That was just given to us tonight,
Yes,
along with the square footage of the building.
That's the kid station building.
But are there more than 8
that,
spaces
These are
that
all
you
parking
can
for the
use there?
museum.
Oh, there's
It's all
so much.
Okay.
That's, I know that, that's what I'm saying. So here. So it seems like they, Joe,
Yeah.
based on this information which we give to you, if they can show they have 8 spaces, that's not, the only thing they're lacking is the play area, correct?
Yes.
I have a response to that as well.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to it, that's okay. Just so I understand, what, you at, North Country Kids handle the same, client base you always did?
Yes. We have 5 state-run classrooms. We have 3 that are in our existing building. We have 1 at the kids' building in Keysville, and we have 1 at Cumberland School. The
Right.
1 at Cumberland School, we don't have anymore because they're utilizing their own space now within their own district. We used to rent space out from them. When that happened, we needed to find additional space because we have 8 kiddos with autism.
Right.
That have a school that has to start in September. And she was kind enough to let us look at her building, and it was perfect because it's a children's museum already, and we were able to find a beautiful space to have this.
Right. So, we know that we have to give you a special use permit unless we can prove that you're a detriment to the neighborhood in some way, which is not an issue. So we know that that's a matter of right. We know that there was some discussion about screening, but that's gone away, correct, Joe? There's no required screening. That was talked about at one point. But you are required to provide a play area, which you are going to provide somewhere else off premises?
Well, we have our playground already that's at 22 New York Road, and it's diagonal, so.
Right. And how far is it from your play area to this building?
It's very close. We can see, we walk there all the time.
I know, I mean, is it 200 feet? I'm just trying to get an idea.
Less.
Huh?
I would say it's less. I'm not 100%.
Less, okay, but something like that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So you can easily, on days that the children need to use it, it's an outside play area we're talking about, right? Bring the children from this classroom to the outside play area.
100%.
And the children are your clients, right? They're actually North Country Kids clients, not your clients. You're not providing that outside play area for somebody else's.
No, just our children.
Is clients right word? I hate to call them consumers.
They're students that we serve.
Students.
They're children in our program.
Right, okay. All right, I'm gonna see if anybody has any questions.
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how this superimposes onto that lot.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Okay.
Doing the same
So,
thing.
we have 2 things here.
What's up?
There is no public
I'm just trying to
open
figure
this.
out how much of
Here's
this
one.
parking belongs
Closing that public hearing.
with that lot and how much belongs with maybe the corner lot. No, that's not a corner, but this lot here, the Historical Society.
Well, we have several buildings, so the parking really is confluent around the whole quadrangle. CBTM,
And
on one of the lists there, it had all the different buildings, and so the parking
This
goes
one?
around the whole quadrangle, because the
Right.
whole quadrangle is CBTM.
I just don't wanna look at this and presume that, for instance, the Historical Society, that's a separate lot, right? That's not part of it.
Right, but the bit that's hashed above it is ours, because that
All of
building
that
is
parking belongs
yes.
with this lot?
Yes,
Okay.
because that's our building 16 there that they have the rest of the
Well,
problem, but we have that first.
I'm gonna,
So, there's a plus minus historical, so
Yep.
everything in front of there, which
Joe?
looks like it's in front of there.
I'm gonna do it this way, I think. I'm gonna ask the building inspector to determine whether or not a parking variance is required. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, Joe? Is that okay with you?
I mean, we could, do
Say that
we,
again?
Joe?
Say again.
Huh?
Say it again?
I'm gonna ask the building inspector to determine if that parking plan indicates that a variance is still required or not. Is that okay for me to ask you that?
To do right now?
Right now?
I mean, I'd have to know what every use was, every square footage was.
yeah, I mean,
Is that clear enough to, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, well, it's got the square footage of all the buildings.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, while you're doing that,
Sure.
while he's doing that,
Well,
let's
I'll
go
take
to
a
the
break.
special use permit. Okay?
Okay.
Because then, the only variance we have is the play area variance.
The car storage and garages, they're not buildings, they're things that we store in, and that's, you know, funds for us during the
Right,
winter
yeah.
months.
This is all for, it's all for formal stuff. I won't use another word. Okay, let's do the special use permit. Okay? Special use permit is, just so you understand, is that you have a use that is allowed in the zoning district with a special use permit. It is listed on the list of uses. There are 3 columns. Main uses, accessory uses, allowed with special permit. This is allowed with special permit. That means it's a matter of right, and we give it to you, but we still have to go through this process to make sure that it's not a detriment to the neighborhood. Okay. So for this one, we have a long form seeker, and I think we ought to go through this a little bit. Are you going to substantially in any way increase energy or water use or anything in that building? Not really, right? I mean, how many kids is it?
There's 8 children. We're providing our own lunches from our school.
Right.
our
What's the
building.
most it would be?
They're already existing using their own.
They're already what?
They're already existing as an open children's museum, so the heat's already on and the electric's already on.
Right.
There's a small possibility that there might be a slight more water usage.
No, but I'm saying for you, for this classroom, is it 8 or 10?
8 children.
It's 8.
That's it?
Yes,
That's it.
That's it.
And there will never be more than 8 children because that's all that the classroom's allowed to have.
Okay. Good. So I'd like people to look through the seeker. What page are
Do we have to answer C2A?
you on? Oh, yeah, C2A is a yes. And so is, both of those are yes, not that, right? All right, let's go to D, on page 5 of 13. 3 is yes. And it's Plattsburgh, what is it called? In other words, and it does have the capacity, right, it's not, doesn't need to be expanded. Sewer lines served, I'm going to lose it.
That's okay.
And it is served by sewer lines, and it does not need in-line extension. No, to the next one. Okay. No on G down at the bottom of page 6. Page 7, item J6, there are public transportation facilities within half mile. 7 or 6.
This is yes. Right?
Oh. Well, if yes, oh, so maybe we don't need that then, you're saying? Okay. Does anybody have any other comments regarding the seeker? If not, we are looking for a negative declaration saying we find no adverse environmental impact. Motion for
Now, they checked that this is in a 100-year floodplain. Is this actually in the 100-year floodplain?
Something that close, I usually put yes. I mean, who's to say, really? I mean, how would I check that? But something that close, I would say yeah.
It's in the lake, you mean? Yeah, but you gotta come all the way up that cliff.
I was gonna say, you gotta come up 40 feet.
100 year.
Yeah, but it
Again,
never comes up to the railroad tracks as an example, right?
Again, you guys can change it.
If you wanna change it, change it.
I don't know what the 100-year
I don't
floodplain is,
either.
but I can't imagine it's that high,
Yeah,
because there'd be a lot of places underwater if it is.
yeah, yeah. Overhead door would be in it. If you wanna change it, change it.
Which one is that, Scott?
It's on page 11, at the bottom of page J.
J?
Yes.
Okay. If not, I'm looking for a negative motion for a negative declaration.
Anybody knows how to work?
Actually, before we do that, on the last page, 13,
Mm-hmm.
F is the project site or any portion of it located in or adjacent to an area designated as sensitive for archaeological sites. We're on the SHPO.
Oh, yeah.
So change.
And I don't know the answer to that. But is that considered in the historic district?
It is, it does,
Do you want yes or no?
it's okay if it's yes, it doesn't mean,
True.
right?
So check yes?
Yeah, it is yes. It's checked that way, all right?
Okay.
Right? I mean, in other words,
Yeah.
they're
And-
not changing the outsides of the building, right? So
Yeah.
it's not like it needs historic
True.
site review.
And then the last question, I should be checked, no. Is the project site located within a designated river
Right.
corridor?
There, or whatever it is. Yeah. Okay?
I don't know how to make that motion.
So, I move that find no adverse environmental impact. You want me to call Connie Fisher?
I can do that. That's
That
pretty
was
much
her
similar to
special.
the last one.
That's all, no, that's it.
All right, so I'll move that on appeal number
This
2134.
is secret. Wrong folks.
Yeah. 2134, applicant North Country Kids, Inc., that on the full environmental assessment form that we determined there's no adverse environmental impact from the proposed action.
Seconded by
I'll second it.
Kelly. She
Kelly
knows.
did.
All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the seeker's done. While we're waiting on, let's look at the special use permit now. Again, this is an allowed use with a special use permit. Does anybody have any issues or questions about this? If not, I'm looking for a motion, and this one we do with a paper ballot. Who's gonna make the motion to grant a special use?
I'll make a motion in regards to appeal 2134 for an application for a special use permit for North Country Kids, Inc. The location would be at 7 New York Road, also known as 8 Museum Way for the whole parcel. And it is to operate a daycare in RC2 district.
I'll second.
Seconded by Kathleen? Right?
Yes.
Kathleen. And a yes vote is
Excuse
to
me.
approve the special
I
use
think the
permit.
actual, I don't think it's changing, but the street address is 13 New York Road. It's building 7. I'm sorry, I know it's very confusing. We
I think
went
if we
around
just-
and around with the post office.
What is it?
This is
Now, the-
911, ma'am. This is 911.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I
You
got
already
it
have the appeal
directly
number
from
on
them.
there.
Okay.
Okay?
We've got the parcel ID number too.
Right.
We've got ways to identify.
And again, as you know, we have to give you this part. Now we got to find out about whether or not a parking variance is required. And we have a short form seeker.
What
Well,
was the result of that?
huh?
Did you say?
Oh, I'm sorry. The result was 5-0.
Oh, okay.
Approved. We had to.
You don't have to.
You all know in your hearts what we did.
Yes.
Okay, let's do the short form seeker for the variances.
What is the variance? Is it just parking?
Huh?
Is it just parking?
Well, no, it's parking, it may or may not be parking, he's
Okay.
determining that, and play area that we're
Oh,
allowing.
that's right, okay. All right.
We might as well do the seeker.
Yep.
And this is a short form seeker, and we'll take a look at this and see if this is in fact filled out properly, and if so, I'm looking for somebody to make a motion regarding the last name, but see if you see anything you don't like. You're gonna be moving that back,
You're gonna be on the floor.
Do they need a building permit?
Huh?
Are you doing any modifications?
No.
So, do they need a building permit?
No.
Okay.
It was the perfect place. It's a children's museum.
Yeah.
Well, we usually tell people they forgot to put a building permit in, we're gonna say we don't need it.
No, that portion was already finished in that way.
Yeah.
So, how are you doing on that, Joe?
Done.
And what's the story?
Okay, I just want to make sure I understand this list. Okay, so the only thing I can count as storage, I think, is the 14-car garage. Okay?
Okay.
That's second up from the bottom.
Mhm.
You have office space. Everything else I calculate as museum, and then taking out the 800 square feet. The parking plan shows 77 spaces, and I show a need for 75.
Okay, so they do not need a parking variance.
That's right.
Okay, so they need a variance for a play area, not providing a play area for 8 children, or because they're providing it on a separate parcel. Okay, first of all, did anybody do a motion for the seeker?
100-year floodplain.
No.
Yeah.
So 100-year floodplain. Sounds good too.
This is the seeker for me to be able to,
Do you want to change number 16?
what number?
16.
Why?
Same as last time.
No.
And change number 2 to get rid of building permit.
Right. Take out building permit under 2.
Okay.
All right, I'll make a motion in regards to the short environmental assessment form for, this one is appeal number 2133, North Country Kids. After review of part 1, that part 2, questions 1 through 11 be checked, no or small impact may occur. And as a result of that, the chair may check in part 3 that we've determined that will not result in any significant adverse environmental impact.
I'll second.
Second by, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that is the we need a motion. It has been determined that there is no screening or parking variance required. We need a motion to allow them to, where one play area is required, for them to provide none on the premises.
Say that one? Oh, sorry.
Right?
Go ahead.
In other words, we don't even care about, we can take that, but it's not part of the motion. If you want to say in the motion because they're providing somewhere else, you can. But the fact of the matter is that really what they're getting is a variance
Oh,
not to
okay.
provide a play area on premises.
I'll make the motion on appeal number 2133 that we approve a variance for,
That'd be 2133.
that's what I said.
Use those.
Yeah. What are we calling it, a preschool or a classroom?
Hmm?
I don't know what the zoning, what kind of use requires the play area? Is it called a school or
Well, the classroom is required, classroom use.
any classroom use?
Yeah,
Okay.
is it, because that's, well, it says a daycare. It calls it a daycare.
Well, but
Here.
actually, in the Class B variance, it says request to have a classroom area which lacks required
Yeah.
play area.
Is that what the zoning law says, is classroom area? I just want to make sure
Oh.
we're phrasing it right.
Mhm.
Is that what requires the play area, is a classroom area?
Nursery schools and daycares.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily classroom, but daycare
It's
or
a daycare.
preschool.
Okay. So, on appeal number 2133 to approve a variance for a preschool or nursery school daycare, is that what you said?
Yes.
Without providing a play area
On premises.
on the premises.
Seconded by Kelly.
Can we
Wanna
modify
change
that? I'd like to require that they maintain the play area within a certain proximity.
Right.
And as long as that, if
Right,
that goes
yeah.
away, then.
That's okay,
Then the
right.
variance
Sure.
is no longer valid.
What's the certain area
What's certain?
proximity?
Say within 300
Is that the
feet.
adjacent parcel?
It is, you can see the play area is right up here.
I'm saying it's the adjacent parcel.
On 22 New York Road, right, is the play area,
Yeah.
and where they're going is 7.
So why don't we say at 22 New York Road?
Okay, yes.
Yeah, at 7 Museum Way
Is
is
that
where
okay?
they're going. It's 8 Museum Way,
Yeah.
building at 7 New York Road, but the play area is at 22 New York
You
Road.
want to amend your motion to say
So amended.
so amended?
At 22?
Yes. Okay, so a yes vote is to approve with no play area on premises.
Second?
Okay, I don't need your
I
vote.
seconded it.
Okay, thank you.
Got 3. We hold all the power of these first things.
Or the quickest draws, quickest 3 draws.
And that is 5-0 also. You're all set?
Wonderful.
Thank you.
I have a question. As you know, running a classroom, like, we have to go through so many different things, this being one of them. So we've had to go through New York State Education, we've had to go through the Office of Children and Family Services, and not being approved. But one of the things that the Office of Family and Children Services needs is a occupancy, a certificate of occupancy that says that this building, which has changed over time, because when it was first there, it was administrative buildings back in.
It wasn't even, it wasn't habitable. It was it's an old cavalry stables building that was renovated under a DOT grant.
But they need a letter from the city saying that this building is a good use for children, like now it's a children's museum for a classroom. I need that from him
Building
as soon as
inspector,
possible, only because classroom is opening up and we need that final approval for September 5th, and that's right around the corner. And I also need that same daycare licensing, which is our permit that we have to put on our wall, to get the child and adult family food program over there as well. So the sooner I get that, Joe.
Yeah, call me tomorrow and we'll try to figure out the language.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Can I
much.
ask one more question? So we are planning, the museum is planning to make that outdoor area that we now don't use at all into a children-friendly area at some point. Will we need a variance to do that? Oh, sorry. Will you?
Part of the museum, you mean?
Well, there's an area outside the doors there which is not used at all. People just come in, it's completely ignored because it isn't, it isn't finished at all, but we are planning to do a playground there at some point. Would we need a variance for that?
No.
It wouldn't, okay.
No, that would be considered part of the museum.
Yes, it is, yes, okay, thank you. Just wanted to-
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for staying late.
Right.
That's fine.
This is just from 911.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye,
you.
thank you. Okay, any other business?
The
Minutes.
Minutes, oh, yeah, minutes. Minute by minute. Oh, this is June.
I have a couple of thoughts. Page 4,
Okay.
under number 7, no single church in Plattsburgh has a sign this size, perhaps, is maybe what you were going for. Because it says, no single church in Plattsburgh has a sign this sign.
So,
Probably
okay.
size.
Is that it?
Okay, I'll check that.
Oh, she got one on, what's the page?
7, and again, and this is just because it's my own comments. Down at the bottom where I voted yes, I was persuaded due to location from the road, didn't think this was a commercial sign. I don't know if I said that, but matches church signage.
Okay, is that the
Really-
same page?
Nope, that's page 7.
Page 7.
I think I probably said something along the lines of it matches the church's style,
You want to put that?
because I mean, it wouldn't make sense
Matches the
that
church's style?
yeah, it would otherwise make a lot of sense.
Okay.
Okay,
Just in case we ever get it.
anybody else, any other changes? If not, I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes
As amended.
as amended.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from
As amended.
July 19, 2017, as amended.
June 19th.
June.
That's what it says.
Probably, no, where? Oh, on the, where? Where you got?
Aren't those?
Second?
What
Mine
did you
says
say?
June
Where's it
19th.
say July?
I said June.
No, you said July.
Did I?
Didn't you say July?
I'm sorry.
July?
I said
You were
July.
reading,
Yeah, then it's June.
Okay.
Sorry.
I knew that.
June.
Go.
Is it supposed to be
Okay.
July?
No.
Seconded.
No, I bet she
Kelly's
hasn't,
got it.
Yeah,
I bet
Yeah,
she
I
hasn't
already-
finished July
Kelly
yet.
seconded.
All in
Probably had-
favor, aye.
Aye.
Anybody who started, that was a month.
Does anybody have any other business?
yeah, I got about a line on.
Yeah, I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Seconded,
It's not new business,
all approved,
old business.
aye, adjourned.
When are we gonna,
8:43,
when are we,
What time is it?
8:43.
when are we gonna,
Huh?
Look at that nice watch.
Yeah, it's a
Is that a
Fitbit.
Fitbit?